Now what you just witnessed is me actually one-shot killing the Enraged Fog Crawler, otherwise known as the toughest enemy in the game besides Liberty Prime, or also the enemy with 4,000 damage resistance, which some people think is actually a typo on Bethesda's part. Now the whole reason I actually decided to test this is from my Instigator 2.0 testing videos, or some of you may not know the video series, but it's basically where I test the instigating laser musket and see where its breaking point lies. Well, I can tell you right away that the instigating laser musket wasn't able to one-shot kill the Fog Crawler. But there is a combination of a weapon and a legendary perk that I'm holding right now that is able to one-shot kill the Fog Crawler. The only catch is the base game doesn't allow the legendary perk to actually come on the weapon itself. So I ended up needing a mod that came out for PS4 recently to actually get the legendary perk I needed on this weapon. And the weapon I'm talking about is called the Never Ending Laser Musket. Now what makes this weapon interesting and unique is that I can crank as many fusion cells into one shot as I want. So you can see right now I have 454 fusion cells. If I wanted to, I could crank this weapon 454 times and shoot a blast that would do an insane amount of damage. Not to mention if I add Calmex, a sneak attack, and a critical hit into the mix, you're looking at basically any enemy in the game, even Liberty Prime, would end up getting one-shot killed by this weapon. You would basically just need to figure out the enemy's max health, do a little bit of calculation, and figure out exactly how many shots you need with the multipliers you can then achieve. Now there is a glitch with this weapon currently, and basically how it's triggered is whenever you crank up a certain amount of shots, it doesn't really matter how many you crank, but when you fire, it actually removes all the ammo you had in excess as well. So if I were to crank one shot and fire, it would get rid of that one shot, but it would also get rid of the 453 rounds I have remaining. And in order to actually use this weapon efficiently, you'd have to go back and forth between your companion, taking extra fusion cells from them, just so that the gun wouldn't, suck up all of them that you had. So at the moment, this gun is not practical unless you're trying to one-shot kill Liberty Prime, which is kind of like a one-in-a-lifetime experience, but nonetheless, this is a very cool weapon with some very unique capabilities. It's not every day you find a weapon in Fallout that can virtually do an infinite amount of damage. And the funny thing about this weapon is I've actually tried to farm this weapon before until I found out that it doesn't actually drop. In the vanilla base game, it doesn't actually exist at all. So now that mods finally came out, I just wanted to show you guys this because I've actually heard some people say never ending on the laser musket would be just incredible, and I totally agree with them. And now we've actually found out how powerful it really is. Now usually with my weapon builds I do some type of calculation or some math within the video, but with this one it's kind of a unique video because you can technically do an infinite amount of damage. So what I'll do is either in the description or the comments, I'll just leave the calculations down below for how much damage I actually did to the Fog Crawler if you're at all interested. And with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and share. It really helps with the video's performance. And as always, thanks for watching.
Got a doll baby, I love her so. Nothing else like her anywhere you go. A man, she's anything but calm.